So I'll do like a little recap. I have a short video regarding the modern Hivemind Gamer, which to be, if we're being completely honest, that could be said for a lot of different things. There's too many hive mind programmed robots that we call that are people supposedly, right? Which is unfortunate. There's too many people that are too hive mind for me. Like no one actually has their own personality, and that, my friend, is definitely unfortunate, man. Unfortunate. So as I was with a few friends, we were kind of like talking about just different subjects regarding like why things are the way that they are. You know what I'm saying? It's just terrible. I feel like, so there's a couple of things I'm going to address, right? The first thing I wanted to address is number one. Are you sure the stuff that you like is what you actually like? That's the thing that I want to address, because that right there is a question that I don't think people ask themselves, and it allows for a really nuanced discussion, because ultimately everyone thinks that they are their own individual. You know what I mean? So that's what this boils down to. They think that they're their own individuals, and they think that their thoughts is theirs. And then somewhere along the lines, you start to associate yourself with um, the stuff that you do like, whether it be movies, games, artists, whether it be actors or musicians, and somehow that gets assimilated into your personality, and it starts to alter you. It starts to change you greatly. That's Now think about this, right? That's one of the things I wanted to actually go into. The other thing I want to go into is you got to ask yourself, why are games popular? Why are certain games popular? Because that's the question too. Oh shit, you're here. You're here. What's going on? 2099. You,
Yo, what's up, man? What's up?
what's going on, man? So now that you're here, right? I can kind of Now that you're here, I can kind of like break down everything. So yeah, identifying your identity is the first thing I want to kind of say. Number two, why are certain games popular? Is a question that you need to ask yourself, uh, because now we're starting to get deeper into the rabbit hole. The third thing I want to address is, why aren't single player games cared for as they used to? Like, why do people have such an issue with single player games? The majority of people, it has to have some sort of co-op or something along those lines for somebody to feel like it's gratified. And the fourth thing is, why can't we just go back to just enjoying the games without the need of others, like as if it's approval? That's my question. Now, 20. What can you kind of say about all this, man? Actually, I'm gonna need 10 minutes.
I think I think we are in the age where people are looking for, acceptance. People need to feel like they are connected to a community or to a group of people, because I think it's something lacking. Now, person to person, what that person is missing in their personal life, we will never know unless they tell us. But it's something missing that people feel like they always need to have these experiences that are catered towards being in a party chat with 10 other people, buying a battle pass so they can spend hours doing repetitive tasks with their friends. And I just think that people don't have the attention span or the artistic integrity to sit there.
You're breaking up, bro.
People complaining. Oh yeah, I got you. I got you. The same way that you're seeing so many people complaining.
You keep breaking
God
up.
of War.
You keep breaking up,
I know.
man.
I keep getting a call in the middle. Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, bet. No, I was saying people they don't have the attention span anymore. Like they don't want to sit and figure things out. Like the same way you seeing everybody complaining about, all the puzzles that was on God of War and how they were tired of the puzzles breaking up the pace of the action. Like people just want to get in, grind with their friends, and what I'm saying, just have no thought into it basically.
No, I guess the question that I have to you now is identity, because I don't think you've addressed that one.
You said the identity.
People's people identities. So what I was saying earlier, right? There are people that really do think that their identities are their own, and they don't really care too much about that, right? I mean, not care too much about it. In terms of their identity, right? They think that everything that they choose is theirs. I mean, you would imagine, right, that it is, because you see something you like, you click it, right? You click it, you buy it, whatever the case is. But at what point does it become your personality or marketing telling you that you should like it?
I think when you have, hold on right quick, because I'm jumping back in the whip. Hold on. I think when you have you're initially shown something, right? You're initially shown and you cling to it, right? Then if you cling to it from the initial marketing or announcement, if you were looking forward or whatever, or if you found out because your friend shared it or something like that, right? And you liked it, right? Then that's you, because you wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't marketed and promoted the correct way or word of mouth, right? But if you see a game, right, and say you had no interest in it, but you, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hold on right quick. 1 second. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna come right back.
What about you, 20?
I understand what he was saying with basically the point that he was leading into though, because you could use a bevy of situations where you just see if everybody's saying it or all of your friends is interested in the game, even if you're not interested in the game, and I'm not speaking on me specifically, but even if you're not interested in the game, you like, damn, all my guys getting it, so I'm gonna get it. I'll give you a good example. Call of Duty. Right? Now me, personally, the only first person shooter I really like is Halo, and I like it more for the story. Call of Duty I got this year because all of my guys was getting it. I said, you know what, all right, I'll pay the 70 and get it. If all my friends gonna play it, we gonna enjoy it. I played Call of Duty probably once or twice, but I never picked it up again. That's a prime example of when sometimes you gotta just have your own identity on things and not feel like you gotta play something or you gotta make something your whole personality just because other people is doing it. Silky laughing. That's a fact, bro. I played that game once or twice, and I'm like, bro, I'm not really going to invest no time into this shit. I haven't played it since last year when it came out. And for the most part, I always do my own thing as far as games, because I have a specific set of games that I like to play. You dig? But for that one game, I felt like, all right, I gotta get it, because all of my friends are saying, yo, you gotta get it with us, you gotta stream it with us, we're gonna be going crazy. I got it, ain't even really mess with it. And that just goes to the point of what y'all is saying is like you have to have your own mindset on things. You can't just look at it and say, "Oh, everybody like it." Because I feel the same way about Hogwarts. I know it's kind of controversial, but I feel that way about Hogwarts, where everybody's saying, "Yo, this is gonna be the greatest shit since sliced bread, greatest thing ever." We all get this on day one, and it's gonna break all these type of records. But when you ask somebody, "Okay, what are you looking forward to most at Hogwarts?" The answer is gonna be all over the place. Can't nobody tell you they're looking forward to exploring because the world looks empty. They can't tell you they're looking forward to the combat because you're just standing there waving a wand. It's not really no diversity. You get what I'm saying? So
But we don't
some
know all
people
about the combat like that. They haven't showed it, right? But I get what.
they had a whole hour deep dive on the gameplay and the combat.
Don't they have different? Don't they have different modes or whatever the case, or different classes?
No, they have different schools. Now you can have different what's the word? You can have different like types. Like over the course you can learn to you can have fire spells, you can have ice spells, you can have poison spells. But it's not enough diversity in that gameplay where I would say, okay, I'm gonna play this for $100 because I'm gonna be doing different shit.
Now I know we're going to talk about Callisto Protocol because I think that game got that was another product of things being popular or not popular, or people being kind of brainwashed into thinking that what they like or what they dislike. Now I'm gonna leave this particular conversation and go to something a little that's not gaming at all. Um, do you have any friends that do recreational smoking?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
did they ever tell you why they decided to do it and why they associate that as their identity?
Well, most of the people that I'm cool with, most of my friends that do recreational smoke, because I'm always like the only one out of the group that don't smoke, but mostly you'll get answers that come from some sort of they're trying to escape the reality of their life. So they take that opportunity to kind of just relax and kind of get away from it. But when I always talk to them about, well, you don't have to do it 24 hours a day. You don't have to, it kind of consumes them. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't have the answer. So that's kind of a good question because I don't know why it consumes and becomes their whole identity. But most of the people I know that smoke, it does become their whole identity.
Same thing with coffee smokers. You know what I mean? They it's their life. It's absolutely their life. You know what I'm saying? And you get like a group of people that say the same thing. They say the same rhetoric, man. You know what I mean? Oh, I got to get started in the morning, or whatever the case is. It's part of my routine, and blah 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 blah. There's a lot of people that are not coffee connoisseurs. I am, and I also can identify when it is a problem, or if it's a problem. With me. And we had offline conversations as to, me not really fucking with coffee like that and me needing to, slow down on the coffee or whatever the case is, right? Um, but I would never use that as my identity, you know. But there are a lot of people that use this as their identity. It's them. And I feel like there's a sense of connection when they can find somebody that is basically doing the same thing. Like you know what I mean? But it's like, where did that start? Like, where does it begin and where does it end? You know what I mean? You know, there's a sense of community, but like, how did it start with the person that introduced you to either recreational smoking or, coffee? Like, how did you get to that point? What got them into that point that make you kind of like, you know, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. You can see this in the gaming community, going back to the gaming community, where I think even though I love God of War 2018, right? There were a lot of people that jumped on the bandwagon. A lot of people that jumped on the bandwagon of God of War 2018, and they don't know a lot of the story. When they claim that they're fans, and you really kind of press them in terms of what kind of fandom, like how much of a fan they are. Not that it matters, but they claim that they're hardcore. And when you start getting to the crux of it, it's very superficial. It's very like surface level, and it's like they were dragged into it, right? Because of, well, The media. So having an identity for something or liking something or whatever, like you got a lot of people that like anime, right? Instead of them just liking the anime and keeping it moving, they have to dress like it. They totally absorb it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, that's a problem. What do you have to say about that?
Again, as it pertains to that, I just feel like people who constantly have to make something their identity. When you make something your identity, like say for instance, if somebody has like a Sasuke profile picture or something, I feel like you have that profile picture because you're trying to attract other people who also share the same love or the same tribalism, for anime, in that sense. And I feel like it's because, again, for me, it always, I look kind of deeper into things. So for me, it always goes back to there's a gap in a person's personal life that makes them want to reach out on the internet to feel a part of something that they aren't a part of in real life. And I don't know if that's they don't have any friends in real life. I don't know if that's they moved to a different state and all their friends are on the other side of the country, or maybe they were bullied in school and they never had that love and that outreach with other people. I don't know, but even if you're talking about God of War, it's a whole community of people that just feel like they have to constantly you know have these Kratos profile pictures and these Atreus profile pictures, and they just got to be a part of a community, to feel like they're a part of something. I mean, it just is what it is for them type of people. But everybody has eventually you have to think for yourself because don't think like that. It never lasts. Like eventually, it's just not gonna last.
So I guess there's something that happened over time where people start really, really identifying what marketing is telling them. Now, I gotta bear in mind, man. I'm trying to make this a clean, I'm trying clean sounding show. So if you got a lot of background noise, if you're not talking, if you have a lot of background noise and stuff like that, just be mindful of that.
No, I got you, bro. Yeah, basically what 2099 is saying, like, you got to think about people who are like let's just say PlayStation fans versus Xbox fans, right? They're doing that because that gives them a community to tap in from to get them views, to get them whatever, right? Or the same thing with people that play Call of Duty, who play Elden Ring. Like I could have been like a long time ago if I just streamed Call of Duty, like if that was all that I streamed, right? Or you know what I'm saying, I would have been like if I picked that like during the pandemic. I would have been able to carve out a niche, and that would have been my game, right? Or 2K, or Smash Brothers, or whatever. Like, whatever it is, like, people are going to use whatever they can use if they don't, um, you know, if they don't want to, like, use marketing or promotion or whatever the case may be, like, the companies or the media websites or whatever to use, it's easier to build a community around the shared interests. And as long as you can be, you're a likable person or you're a likable entity or whatever, and you get along with people, and like anybody really, I'm gonna just say this: if you can, if there's a person in here that's cool with a lot of people, or can draw a crowd, or can strung up a conversation by saying, "Oh, I'm a PlayStation gamer," or whatever the case may be, right? And that's their identity. They're gonna get attention because that's who they are. You know what I'm saying? That's not who they are, but that's what they picked as an identity. Like you said, with a smoker, or a person who likes to party, or a person who has tattoos. Like or a cosplayer, you're gonna attract a certain amount of attention. And if you have a certain look or a certain a certain vibe to you that attracts people, then you're gonna get that attention. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a cheat code in a way, But if you're being yourself and people rock with you and people don't rock with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a harder thing to kind of carve out a lane. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I don't think it's necessarily a hive mind for a hive mind. Some people, like I said before, want to just cause chaos and cause confusion and stuff like that because
Before
that
you
gets
before
them
you go on,
attention.
before you go on, I am not talking about Twitter. Twitter is not that world. It's not a real world. Twitter is not a real place.
Like people will do that in real life, Alyssa. Like
No, I
it's
understand.
not.
I get what you're saying, but some of the examples that you mentioned were correlated to a lot of the Twitter things. So you mentioned something that was interesting. Tattoos, for instance, right? You see a lot of people, having tattoos more so than ever. You see a lot of people identifying as certain identities all of a sudden. You know what I mean? You see a lot of people identifying with, a particular group or a politic or anything of that nature. They are identifying with something and it is a sense of community. I get it. I totally understand that it is a sense of community. That ain't the problem, right? I mean, the shit that you see on Twitter isn't what I'm referring to, man. I mean, I know what you're saying, but like, I'm talking about the people that get sucked into market. You know what I mean? To marketing. The same thing happened with Cyberpunk, right? So this is on one extreme. Everyone was so like, so hell bent on Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? They never even played it, but the media told them that it was good, and everybody wanted to jump on board. You also have the Soul community, right, where they all jumped on the Souls community. There's a lot of people that bought Elden Ring, right, and they never played the Souls game, and it was just a cool thing to do. Same thing with God of War. People bought God of War, didn't even play the first God of War. You know, and I get that you see something that's interesting or whatever like that. And then on the bad side of things, right? On a really shitty side of things, you got stuff like Callisto Protocol, right? Now, people were disappointed with Callisto Protocol because they were expecting Dead Space. That's what they were really, truthfully expecting. And they didn't get Dead Space. And it doesn't play like Dead Space, despite the fact that it looks like Dead Space. And maybe it was the marketing, maybe it was a lot of different things that ended up causing that to be an issue. But the bottom line was the what do you call it? The end result. They were expecting about 5 million in sales, right? And it didn't even crack 1 million. You know, so that was one of the things. You know,
Yeah, I mean, but that's marketing though. That's what marketing is supposed to do.
that's
Is
my
to get you.
that's my
Yeah.
point. That's my point. If marketing has that much of a pull on people where they can make or break a game, right? Because what happened was it started to spread like wildfire, whether it's positive notes like Elden Ring or negative like Callisto Protocol. People didn't even want to see things for what they were. They couldn't even do it on their own. They just saw it was like, they said it was bad. They said this is the reason why it's bad. And they didn't even confirm. They didn't even hit confirm that shit. They just automatically assumed it, and they saw a little bit of it, and they just automatically just was like, you know what? Yep, that's what it is. You know what I mean? They hit confirm that they didn't even hit confirm. They just said automatically that's what it is.
I mean, but you gotta think even with music, like if a song goes viral, right? Like you're gonna hear it. Like people do a TikTok to like what's this song? The Don't Play With It song, right? From the chick that's from New York, right? From Brooklyn. Like when you hear that, don't play with it, don't play with it, so, like over and over and over again, right? Eventually it's gonna be like, okay, now I gotta listen to the song. So then you listen to the song, or what's the girl Erica Banks with the Busted song, right? Or Migos with Hotel Lobby, where everybody's like, let's get it. Like they heard Rest in Peace Takeoff say, let's get it, right? And then the beat breaks down, everybody starts dancing and wilding. So that's marketing. So the marketing in games will push people either toward it or against it. And that's why, again, say that, I always say that's why I'm walking like I talk. That's why I'm here. Listen, is we have to build up new voices because I heard, what's my guy name? Greg Miller say that he didn't like Midnight Suns because of the in-between game at the Abbey where you level up and you hang out and you have like little, like, you can bond with the different heroes with your creative character, the hunter, right? A lot of people thought that was tedious. And
What game is this? What game is this?
Midnight Suns.
Okay. Don't know too much about that.
Okay. So Midnight Suns is a RTS / RPG, card battle RPG. So basically, all the characters, all the heroes have a deck of cards, and you got so many moves you can make per turn. And it's the Marvel hero, so more on the mystic side. So think Blade, Ghost Rider, Nico from the Runaways, those type heroes, right? The more mystic, Doctor Strange, right?
All right, cool. I got you.
So basically, a lot of people said they just wanted to just have a battle, have a cutscene, go to the next battle. They didn't like the fact that you had to walk around the Abbey. It's kind of like Baldur's Gate where you can explore and you get an ability, and then after you get the ability, you can go, you can go back to a certain area, and after so many missions or so many battles or whatever, a lot of people dinged the score because of that. But when I got a chance to play the game, and I got to play it a little early, I didn't really. I really liked that. Like, I mean, yeah, a lot of the stuff I knew about certain characters, but I wasn't tripping because I actually like the banter between, the hunter and Blade.
Hold on, I'm sorry, man. Because I got to get everybody else in. I'm only trying to do this shit for an hour. I'm trying to do this shit for an hour.
Go ahead, listen.
So what were you saying, though?
No, what I'm saying was, like, if we don't build up more voices in the community, you're gonna have the same 5 or 6, or let's just say 10, for the sake of the argument. That's gonna be the picture that is painted of a game if we don't have more voices to rival those people who have the lion's share of the market. That's why I'm so big on let's push up different people.
Well, I'm not trying to go into like who, I'm not trying to go deep into.
If you have different voices that are different from the main group of people who review games, the IGNs, the GameSpot.
But it's not just them though. It's not just them because it's not just them. That's majority. That's the majority of the That's the majority of the situation. But you can have a game that explodes on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? You can have a game that explodes on YouTube or wherever it explodes onto, and then people will sit there and pick it up. You can go viral many different ways without the main publication. And I'm not really trying to find a solution. I'm trying to bring light to it. I know what you're trying to do because you've said this multiple times. To be honest with you, I mean I get it, but people are their own. They should be their own personality, and it shouldn't be. My point is they shouldn't be so swayed by the media. I know that media and marketing will sway you. That's the issue. Let me let 2099 go. 2099, what you gotta say about all this? And then Kerr.
Real quick on the subject. When you're talking about the media influencing, it's just it can go hand in hand with a department not explaining enough or explaining too much. I'm gonna give you an example. So for Gotham Knights, when Gotham Knights came out, they were quiet about a lot of stuff regarding like how the game is gonna run and things like that. Adding on to the fact that people already looked at the game some type of way because it's not Arkham Knight, which was pretty stupid because they said from the jump, look, this isn't a Batman Arkham game. It's a completely different game, completely different gameplay system. All right, we get all that. But people already had a notion about it from that. but they wait until 2 days before the game comes out to say. And they didn't even do it publicly. They went on Discord and they said, okay, this game is going to run at 30 frames per second. That right there, marketing killed that game. Single-handedly, marketing killed that game.
I don't think that they really thought that it was going to be that big, though. I really don't. I think that when they said what they said, they didn't think it was going to have such a large impact. I think they underestimated that shit.
I don't think it would have had a large. I don't think it would have had a large impact had people already banded together and already came up with the concept that we don't like this game because it's not Batman. And I think they missed that. So that them saying that 2 days before the game dropped, that contributed to everybody flipping on the game. But so to me, that was just an example of how marketing influences the masses.
Right. Now, I'm going to put a pause right there. So, Kerr, just to keep you up, I mean, I don't want to repeat everything from scratch, man. It's basically talking about, how people are influenced by the media, essentially, and how they don't have their own identity. They listen to what the media tells them to listen to, and then that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? What do you have to say about that?
It's I feel like media is very powerful, right? And it's like it influences a lot of things. It's even like the type of foods and cars people drive and stuff like that. So influence in video games is not too. I don't know. It doesn't surprise me too much. And then I think another thing that when people mention like media, people always forget that social media also like really also counts as that. So even if it's like a smaller community of people or whatever, like pushing stuff,
You spread like wildfire, just by that.
It spreads like wildfire, yeah. So it's like
You sound low, by the way. You sound like really low.
Oh shit. I'm not sure why. I still sound low?
Now you're better.
All right, cool. So I was like thinking for like an example like where I feel like I was like I got into like the hype of like a game and everything is because I was like I was telling you yesterday, right? I'm a big fan of like Asmongold, so I like watch him on Twitch. He's not like the biggest Twitch streamer, but he's up there. And I like the games he plays, so all that good stuff. But when Fall Guys was like taking over, I saw it for one on the Twitch streams, but I didn't really care for it. Then he started playing it. Then he's playing it with his audience, and then you want to join in, and then like it kind of becomes a thing. And the same thing will like happen with Rust. I feel like there was like Among Us and all those games, and I don't recall those, like at least for me, I don't recall being influenced by like a major publication to go chase those out. It was just like just a small community or whatever community I followed. So I think it works like it's. I don't necessarily think it's like a hive. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily a hive mind thing or just like you find like you have your community and sometimes things just overlap, right? And that's like when things go viral. That's why they're viral, right? Because you're penetrating like these niche areas that probably wouldn't have seen it before. You're in the mainstream and all that good stuff, but. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that right now. I'll continue to listen and comment.
All right, so Killzone. So that's what I'm kind of referring to. I'm not necessarily looking for a solution because you can't stop people being who they are. That's never going to happen. You know what I mean? People are always going to have a misplaced sense of identity, and you get these really like fanatics. Like for instance, right? Everyone knows me in the Twitter community as me liking either Killzone or what do you call it, or Horizon more notably. And they'll see my gameplay and they you know what I mean. Curb, he was telling me about how he was like looking at it. He was like, he keep talking about it. Let me go ahead and try it. So it's not always about IGN and GameStops or GameSpots or whatever the fuck it is. It's not just them. It's in general about people just not having a flat out identity. That's the problem that I can see, and it will become a hive mind for sure, because it's like what you like. You know what I'm saying? There's some things, or you supposed to know what you like. There's some things that I just won't fuck with. Like I don't really fuck with sports games. You can't get me to do it. You know what I mean? In any capacity. I don't even like the sport. I don't even like the arcade sports games. I won't even fuck with that at all either. You know, so that doesn't tickle my fancy. A lot of the times RPGs don't tickle my fancy either. Like JRPGs. I like my adventure games, and that's what I like. You know.
Nah, you play Wii Sports. You play Wii Sports. Don't do that.
I don't shut up. But yeah, so that's what I mean by that, man. Killzone, you still in there? Is he still in there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. So that's how I feel about it. I guess without rehashing on that, you know what I mean. So I won't go in forever. One of the things that I was kind of interested in is, and I'll go to 2099. What would you say is the reason why games become like super popular? Why it catch fire? Like if you look at the more popular games, what do you think is the cause of that?
I think it's a combination of it's really hard to pinpoint it. It's really got to be talking about a certain game, but I think for the most part, it's a combination between trust within the developer combined with the overall hype that the game had in the media, combined with Metacritic. And I know it sucks, but yes, Metacritic does influence a lot of people to go pick up a game. It influences a lot of drones. Because if a game don't have over 85, people is just not even gonna bother with it, and it sucks. But I think it's a combination of between those three. I mean, the only ones who really had that super giant hype that you can really think of is like Elden Ring and God of War. I mean, maybe some Call of Duty. That technically really don't count though. That's gonna fly off the shelves every year anyway, so I don't really consider that. But God of War, because people have been waiting for it so long, and then people trust Sony's single player experiences. It's just a combination of between trust combined with the media, combined with Metacritic, which is a part of it.
And I think these days you also have to. I feel that the community for the games go very, very far. Like I feel like for like even something like Bloodborne, for example, right? Like I think that's like a very big game, and it's always talked about, like still talked about, and all that crazy stuff. And it has like such a niche, like kind of like community kind of thing going on. But like same thing I would even say with what Duke Homeboy was just saying, like with your Call of Duty, Elden Ring, God of War, like there's these like large communities dedicated to these games. You put those games into like YouTube. There's like people breaking them down. There's like life stories and video essays and all this stuff and loads and loads of comments. You go to the Reddit threads. There's like all that stuff. So I feel like.
But what's the origin of it, before it gets to that point?
It's from the initial reveal of the game, right? So when we heard about the first Call of Duty, not even Modern Warfare, but the first Call of Duty, way back in the day on PC, we saw how more detailed it looked from Medal of Honor. We heard the backstory about how the guys at Medal of Honor got screwed over, and then they went and they got more money from Activision, and they went and made the game. Well, actually, they made the game first, and then they got picked up by Activision. So we heard how they got screwed over. They went and made their own game for the first two games, and then when they got the Call of Duty 3, they got picked up, and then, in comes Modern Warfare, right? And the Xbox was just coming out. The Xbox Live, it was the perfect storm, right? You had the big E3 presser where they came and they showed it to you on the dude had, I forgot, the CEO had it tattooed on his arm, and we saw that trailer where they had all of the night vision goggles and the green lasers, and then we saw that splash trailer, and then the multiplayer came out. Then it came out and it did gangbusters, right? So then we get to Modern Warfare 2, and now everybody played the first Call of Duty at a friend's house, a LAN party on Xbox Live, right? So now you got the Army pulling up. Now you got Mountain Dew partnering with them. Now they selling Modern Warfare 2 consoles, and now the map packs is coming to Xbox first, and then they're gonna come to PlayStation. So now you had the fanboy wars going on. PlayStation wasn't doing too good. It was GTA 4 came. So you had all of these different things, these different milestones in the marketing, the gameplay. Everything is hitting critical mass, and everybody who's playing it is enjoying it. The media is enjoying it. People, they talking about it on talk shows and all these other different things. So it has to be a perfect storm for a game to hit. Like, the game has to hit itself, the marketing has to hit, the influencers in the media has to hit. So all of those things, unless it come together to make a game a smash hit.
No, let me ask Kerr, because I was asking Kerr what he figured the origin of these communities, like what caused that to happen. So
Yeah, I would kind of piggyback off of what DJ was saying.
yeah, I
I
think
think
DJ is
it's
like right.
like,
You hit the nail right on the head. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's really about like that initial reveal, because it kind of gets you hyped, even for like a new like for a new IP. Then you kind of start playing it, right, and you get this like, if the game itself is good, you're gonna go online. Like nowadays, you're gonna go online, you're gonna look stuff up afterwards, or you probably go and see like how people speed run it, or how did you do this boss, whatever. And I feel like that's kind of how those communities start to form, because people start to put out their like, it's really just, I guess, ultimately good gameplay.
I
Like good
would I
gameplay,
would
like
honestly say that, but I don't even think good gameplay is the thing. All right, so I ain't gonna rag on this game.
Not your gameplay.
you don't think it's good
No, no,
gameplay?
no. It has to be. It has to be. Okay, so here's a good example, right? I ain't shitting on Stray. You know what I'm saying? It's Stray. It's Stray. You know, look at Stray. It's a very simplistic game with barely any like real gameplay. It's an experience, really, than a game. More so an experience in the game. But that caught wildfire too. And part of that is pop culture, right? So you look at it like, oh, everyone. See, another thing too, I don't know when this happened. It's just so cool to be a bitch or to be just cynical. Everybody wants to do that or be angry. You know what I mean? So cats are the catalyst, or not the catalyst, but it catapults that attitude. Cats are assholes, they're dicks, they knock things over, whatever the case is. So everybody want to have the cat personality. You know what I mean? The cute but feisty type shit. So that game caught wildfire, and everybody was like, "Yo, I really love this game. I want to play it," and everybody wanted to play it and say that they like cats all of a sudden. You know what I mean? And so there's a little splash of everyone wanting to be included. This inclusion. You know what I mean? And I believe either DJ or 2099, he ended up mentioning that shit as well, where you don't have your own identity. You're fishing, you're fishing for to feel a belonging of sorts. So this is where social media grabs people, whether it be like IGN or whatever the case is. It grabs people because they something missing, something about them as people is lacking. There's a hole somewhere where they feel like they need to feel like, this is where they become rabid fans of something. They'll latch onto it because there's something deep down that they either feel is lacking or something's wrong with them. And I'm just going to be forthcoming. That's what I believe. Something's clearly wrong with them. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I'm sure that was pretty loaded.
I mean, shoot, you're right. You're right. Like, nobody wants to feel left out, but then you got that person. You got like three types of people. You got the people who are for the community. You got the people who want to hate on it, and then you got the people who are just indifferent. Like, it really don't matter to them or not if they like. Because, see, Stray was that game for me where I'm indifferent. I'm going to play it eventually. But it's not like, ooh, I got to play it. Or, ooh, this game is dumb, so I'm going to just hate on it just because everybody likes it. You know? So you got to fall in 3 different categories. You know?
Kerr, what were
And
you
then you
saying?
got a
What were
fourth
you
category
popping
where,
off? Kerr, what were you popping off saying? You said I was loaded. It was loaded.
Yeah, because I mean, DJ kind of touched on it, right? Like, people, I think by human nature, you want to belong, right? Like, people we're social creatures, right? We want to, like, be accepted or whatever the case may be. And especially, I feel like within the gaming realm, it's like a lot of people, like, typically, the typical gamer is like an outcast or a nerd or something like that. So, the idea of a gaming community or like playing games with other people that, like, you kind of connect with, I could see why people like are quick to kind of bandwagon like when things like get super popular or whatever the case may be. But I think at the same time, I do think that people do kind of make up their own mind, because I'm also curious what would Stray actually look like if it was not on the streaming service and you actually have to pay for it. Like, what the sales would look like. Would it have done like more than Returnal or something like that with all the things? Like, I think sometimes you get plants. Like in any industry, like, you put a lot of money behind things, you get the right influencers to talk about it. You can pay people off, and just like some songs go number one because of mass buying and all that stuff, I feel like you could plant like games to like be this like to prop it up to look like this huge success, but it's really not. Like, for me, Stray went viral. I saw people do it on Twitch, and I did try it. I didn't enjoy it. I think I played less than an hour, and that was enough for me. But yeah.
Because it's not really a game. It's more like an experience, to be honest with you. It's really, you just follow along, just kind of get lost in the ambience. I get it. I bought it, because I wanted to support it. I've always wanted to play the game, so I didn't use the stream.
You actually spent the money on it? Like, you
I
bought
I'm
it?
not going to let y'all disrespect Stray. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I absolutely bought the game, and I don't regret it
Okay.
either. But my thing is to say that you have great gameplay with you have Stray that was it was a curated theme park ride essentially. You know what I mean? You,
Okay.
you
And just,
know, because you can go and say that the Souls games have like really really good gameplay, right? Which they do,
right.
right? Challenging or
But
whatever the case is. But then you have a game that's like jump into the roller coaster seat and let it do its thing, and you just experience it. And is that a game? I don't know. Is it?
Man, some of them puzzles were tough. We're not doing that.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, I guess, like, I think of, like, also, like, The Sims. Like, The Sims is, like, a really huge game, and it's, like, it's all over the place. And that game is basically just simulation. You're not really doing much, right? People just load it up with cheat codes and just, like, reenact whatever. But I would, like, we could argue about the gameplay and if it's gameplay or anything, but it is engaging, right? And all that good stuff. So I guess it's just, it's one of those things where it's up to, everyone has their own taste, different strokes for different folks, right? There's a reason, like, when things are popular, there's a reason why they're popular, I think. Even if it doesn't resonate with you, some things may resonate, some things may not, but it's there for a reason, right? So I think the development or like whatever that end product is, just because it doesn't tickle you, if it tickles like 90% of everyone else, it's still there, right? It's still a hit, but it's just not for you.
What about you, DJ? What you guys? Well, no, I already did DJ. 2099. What you guys say about that?
Man, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. People cannot think for themselves, and people need help. These people need help, man. Let's keep it a buck. Let's not sugarcoat it. These people need help. They need real human interaction in the real world. Some people just cannot comprehend the concept of thinking for themselves. And also, I want to say, in response to Kerr, Stray 100%, if it was not launching on PS Plus, would have cleared Returnal sales.
because people don't want to play a hard ass game. The masses don't want to play a hard ass game like Returnal. So the difficulty in Returnal held that game back from sales. Do I think it was a very difficult game? No, I do not. But I'm speaking in the general consensus of what people perceive that game to be. Stray being a friendly cat game, very memeable. You know what I mean? A lot of women like it and children because it doesn't require much effort and it's about a cat. That game would have cleared Returnal sales if it was not on PS4.
Gotcha. So it's almost like it was like Sony's like little Nintendo kind of thing. Like,
yeah, it was yeah.
Well, it's not a Sony thing though, because it's on PC. So like the thing is, right? It's just the nature of the game, and like what 20 said, man. Ultimately, like the same thing happened with what do you call it? What the fuck is it called again? Red Dead Redemption 2. Everyone sat there and said that that game was game of the year and everything like that. But then you look at the finish ratio, and then you'll see people kind of like post videos, and then you look at the comments, right? Oh yeah, I gotta finish that. If it was so damn good, how come you didn't fucking finish it? You know what I mean? Like, what would take you away from a game of the year? You know what I mean? And that goes into like the whole sense of community thing. I guarantee you, a lot of the people got swayed by marketing, right? Wanted to play the game,
Absolutely.
and then went back to Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Red Dead Redemption was very interesting because I think I told you the story, Josh, when I was living with my roommates and my homegirl well, one of my roommates, her homegirl came by and they all ran into my room and they were just like, "Oh my God, Kurt, do you have Red Dead Redemption?" I'm just like, "What the fuck? Do you guys even play video games?" But because of the marketing and it was like everywhere, it was like little memes, like in TV shows and stuff like that. That was different. That was
Fun fact. You want to know how important Red Dead Redemption is or was? Who's that guy that sung that Newtown Road or Old Town Road?
Lil Nas X came in and made a whole song about that. Song is about Red Dead Redemption.
He was already doing
diamond off of that shit.
That
shit is crazy.
He was doing rap before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like, you know, he was just like a normal guy that did rap underground or whatever, like this small shit, right? And then he decided, and like you guys have adequately put right, the right time and everything needs to like that's what DJ was saying, the right time, all of that shit needs to go in line. While everyone was talking about Red Dead Redemption, you know what I mean? Because it's by the makers, and this is what I don't know who said it, but like the trust of the developer and publisher. Everybody was like, "Oh, they make Grand Theft Auto, so fuck it." You know what I mean? This is like a Wild West, you know, Grand Theft Auto or whatever the case is, you know. So they were like, "Okay, cool." And he made a video about basically Red Dead Redemption, and it blew up so crazy that it made him famous. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody didn't know about that shit, I mean that type of information gets lost in history. You feel me? You know what I mean? It's been so long ago, people forgot about that.
I always forget that that's really how he went viral, and it's so crazy because it's just like he's one of the world's biggest pop stars, and I guess he could put it on Red Dead Redemption.
And that goes to show you, and I think that 20 said this shit too. Like people really, and we're in a state where it's record-breaking depression, it's record-breaking drugs, it's record-breaking escapism because people are just lonely and they don't know how to express themselves at all. You know what I mean? At all. People are so like you look at everything. For instance, and I'll talk a little bit of red pill, but not for red pill's sake, right? If you don't know what red pill is, it's just basically, you know, like woman nature, let's put it like that, right? If you look at in those spaces, right, when a woman speaks, every single woman will say the same thing. What they're looking for. I'm looking for a guy that makes six figures. He needs to be tall, blah, 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 blah. On the flip side, what guys will say about the whole red pill space, oh, she's just a user. Everybody repeats the same talking points. You know what I mean? Because it's just easier to take somebody else's thoughts, you know what I mean, instead of articulating your own, which is pretty fucking crazy to me. Even when it comes to You know, Horizon Forbidden West, right? You look at Horizon Forbidden West and people say it's trash, it's boring, and they can't articulate why. You know what I mean? And ultimately, people want to be comfortable. They don't want to kind of think outside the box. They don't want to think at all, really. So when they say that game in particular is boring, it's because it doesn't work like the normal shit that you're used to. If you ever speak to a JRPG fan, they like the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over again. The same story and gameplay remixed in a different way, just enough so they don't have to learn another mechanic. You know what I mean? Or learn it to the point where it's like really out there. The people who likes the Souls games, right? They claim that they're connoisseurs of difficult games, right? That they're really good at it and patient and they're good, blah 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 blah. That's what they claim, right? But then you look at it and they couldn't play Returnal for shit. Returnal's gameplay is airtight. There is not a fucking thing that's wrong with it really, but an occasional frame rate hiccup. That's about as good as it gets. Airtight. It demands out a lot out of you. You can't say anything's wrong mechanically with the game. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to play that. They rather stick with the Souls games, and that's why it becomes a more, and like what you said, Kerr, it becomes more of a community thing where you talking to people. And the same thing with Call of Duty. They have played the same maps over and over and over and over again with the same game over a gun over and over and over and over again for years, and they'll talk the same trash. Kind of like trashing. I forgot what the fuck you call it. Like when you trash talk. There we go. Trash talk someone. They'll say the same talking points over and over and over again. They'll say the same thing about lag over and over and over again, even if it's not lag. You go to work, people just, I don't know, people's identity is shot. You know, I mean, I remember when I used to work in the office, what did people say to me? Are you working hard or hardly working? Shut the fuck up. You don't got nothing better you don't got nothing original to say, like for real. That's all you got. And you see that a lot, man. People just really don't have their own identity at all, and they don't want to have their own identity. It's too hard to like something that's out of the norm. It really is, and that's, to me, that's a shame. The last thing I kind of wanted to touch up on, right, for before we close out, because I'm not trying to have no long ass space. I'm really not. Ain't even worth it like that. But we talked about what makes a game viral. You know what I mean? We talk about the perfect storm and stuff like that, and it has something to do with the, where the state of things are. When you look at Call of Duty, we were already going through our own war in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? And for the people, they wanted to kind of see what it would look like, even if it is uh, um, a fictitious version of it. They wanted to see what it was like to be in war without being in war, and it was controversial and shit like that. So that's why that caught fire. But I'm gonna dig deeper into that, right? You ever notice how people are attracted to drama within these games? If your game ain't full of drama, or if it doesn't make you cry, that game is trash. You either have to make you cry or laugh. And I'm like, what? What do you got to say about that, guys?
I think people like to hear good stories in games. Like I've kind of gotten out of like watching a lot of TV because I stream. So you know what I'm saying? Like I like games that have good narratives because it makes me feel a part of the experience. Like I'll watch a movie. Like I went to go see Shin Ultraman. It was cool. It was a good movie. Um, or a Marvel movie or whatever. But I'm finding that TV doesn't hold my attention because I watched a whole lot of TV. So now I game a lot more. Um, and I'm trying to read a lot more too. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on who you are. Some people like sports games, like party games, like fighting games. They just want to get in, play some games, play a few games, a few rounds, a few matches, and then they get off. You know what I'm saying? So an hour or two will pass by, and that's what they like to play. Whereas
some other gamers may like to play games that are narrative driven because that's where they get their storytelling from. So yeah.
What about you, Kerr? What you gotta say about these people that apparently are going through like emotional issues? You know what I mean? People are just you look at it, it's like people are like they want that
You're
emotional roller
funny.
coaster. What you say?
No, you're funny. That's all. Keep going.
What I do? What I do now?
No, you didn't do anything. No. Keep explaining.
No. You gotta say it.
No. I was just laughing. Go ahead. It's just how you were saying it. It's nothing wrong.
Oh, the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm on an emotional roller coaster. That's what they want, man.
You didn't see the rise of emo rap off SoundCloud with like that whole era of things. Like, yeah, of course.
That's why. What's his name? Lil Uzi Vert, yo. All the black.
No, Juice World. Juice World will make you feel like, oh my God. Like, I had to stop. I thought he was fire at first, but as my life got better, like, I think I had came out of a breakup. But when I got over it, like 2 weeks later, I'm like, damn, I can't even listen to this mug. Like, the second album was called Death Race for Love, and he had like a PlayStation cover on that mug. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fire. Like, then I cut it on, and he's talking about getting high, and his girl left him again, and I'm like, man, come on, man. Come on,
I
man.
think there's a problem. Look, and anybody that's listening to this and think that I'm an Xbot, please don't. Please don't. Don't follow me because you think I hate PlayStation. I love PlayStation very much, but I do think that this needs to go without saying. I think that a lot of, and we're gonna at least cap it on that note. I truly believe that PlayStation fans, y'all motherfuckers got some emotional issues, yo. Every time I see you motherfuckers, yo, it be like, yo, something off with you motherfuckers, yo. Y'all only like emotional, tear wrench, gut wrenching, tear jerking, like bullshit all the time, yo. If that game don't have an emotional like daddy issue shit, yo, you ready to reject that shit? PlayStation, Sony can't make no happy game, yo. It has to always be something depressing, yo. You like that's a 10 out of 10 because it made me cry.
Oh, you're funny. Remember, we were saying this the other night in the party. I was saying
You
to you,
did that. You said that shit, yo. They got daddy issues.
No. Yeah. But I was explaining to you that PlayStation needs, like, I feel like PlayStation's audience, because we're kind of all grown with it. Like, I grew up with I remember when I got my first PlayStation, the PS2, skipped the 3, and now had the 4, had the 5. But it's like PlayStation kind of grew with me, right? So I feel like their games, like the games and the stories that they're telling, has to grow with their audience. It's like if you listen to an artist and they're rapping about bullshit when it just came out, and you're listening to them 10 years later, and they're still talking about the same bullshit 10 years ago. It's like you're not growing with your audience. And I think that's what PlayStation, I think that's why those titles, like those emotional, quote unquote, dramatic titles, like hit people, because we're more mature now. We read books, we have different life experiences, we can see things from different angles. And I know for me personally, growing up, I didn't really pay attention to the stories in games. I just kind of like played them and had a good time. But now that I'm older, I could sit there, I could like get into the characters and things like that. And this is just my bias. I do like when stories. I do like grand finales in a story, or just like some wild sort of like impact. I guess, but guess what you're saying? Like leave me crying, leave me questioning, leave me with a story that's like.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I forgot. You the Last of Us guy.
Leave me with a story that I'm thinking about weeks after, months after I bring up in conversation. It's just like,
But there's only so many things
but
that Sony can really do. There's only so many like tear jerkers. They already had a little girl cry.
But not everything has to be like a tear jerker. They could be like revenge stories. They could be like
that's a tear jerker. That's a tear jerker. You can't have a revenge story without nobody getting hurt.
Bro, listen, keep it a buck, yo. Sony be preying on y'all trauma, yo. Let's just keep it
Faxy.
Trauma, yo, because they know that if they make a story where they kill off your favorite character, everybody gonna talk about it. Everybody gonna want to see what's going on. And they also know that if they bring out a new fucking next gen Ape Escape, y'all ain't gonna buy it.
You ain't gonna buy no Ape Escape.
Well, I think if they, but hold up, the game gotta be fire, and it's gotta be like.
What does that
For
mean?
instance,
I can't stand when people use these generic ass words to describe it. What is
listen,
fire?
so like Crash 4, right? Crash 4 came out, and the game was beautiful. The game was fun, but it was too hard. A lot of people bought Crash 4, and the same thing that happened with Returnal and Elden Ring. A lot of people couldn't hang. Me, I was playing a whole bunch of stuff, so I was streaming the game, get the next game when it came out, because I wanted to be that guy. Like, I got all the consoles, so I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna stay up on these releases. Nowadays, I'm like, all right, cool, I gotta slow down because I got too many games now and I don't have that much time. So with Crash Bandicoot, though, a lot of people jumped on it because they bought the hell out of that trilogy, right? And they had the little level that you updated, and if you
No, that was
carry it over,
that
you
was
got some.
nostalgia. That was they were playing on your childhood. That's what that was.
Yeah, but it's sold though. It's sold.
I get it. I know it's so. It's so because they were preying on your childhood and traumas, yo. That's what they do. That's what Sony and Nintendo do. Either it's gonna be some trauma or it's gonna be some nostalgia. One of the two. And y'all motherfuckers always fall for it like a moth to a flame every single time, yo. That's what y'all call fire. I remember this old busted ass fucking game. That shit's fire.
I mean, it's still Crash is one of them games that still stands the test of time. And then with the Insane trilogy, like, and then with four was dope. It had some new mechanics. And then in the trilogy they fixed everything. Same thing with Halo. But Halo didn't stick the landing with Halo 5 Guardians and the Master Chief Collection. It took
The
Halo
Master Chief
Infinite.
collection would have been nice, but they fucked that up. Hold on. Let me let Nib go because he just jumped in there. Nibs, what you got? What you got to say?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting conversation. But I would just say, look, like, I know gaming is different to, obviously, film, but it's like when you watch a series or a movie, right? You just, whatever media it is you're reading, viewing, whatever, playing, you just want it to move you. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a tearjerker, or you just want it to resonate with you, to have sort of an impact, right? So if you go and watch a movie and it's just fucking monotone the whole way through, okay, it could be entertaining if it has cool action and stuff, but it's not really much more beyond that. Like, but then if a movie has writing that makes you question things or think about things and ponder and has emotional beats and, you know, you can relate to it through life experiences, then yeah, it might have more of an impact. And I think, yeah, it's not that they're like trying to latch onto your trauma. I think they just know that people like to be moved. They want storylines that actually, you know, emotionally connect with them instead of just doing nothing really and just relying on the gameplay alone. And I was gonna say, Illicit, like, what would you say is your top 5 films of all time?
The Matrix, Child's Play. Oh shit. I know The Matrix, Child's Play. What the fuck else? So I'm not a big movie person. Terminator 2. I think that's a cool movie.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, right? Most of my media that I like a lot is actually anime. See, a lot of people think I don't like Japanese art and Japanese games.
A lot of anime is quite emotional as well, though.
Yeah, that's where you get that it brings all the emos out to the yard, man. That's what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's not like all of Sony's games are like that. Because you know you got your like Astro Bots and your fucking Sackboys.
The most successful ones are the emotional ones. That's the thing.
Yeah, because people, they want games to impact them, and it's not necessarily because look,
they want to cry.
On one end of the scale, you have like Uncharted, right? That's like a pulp. It's kind of basically Indiana Jones. So it's like light-hearted quips, comedy, adventure. You know, it's a very light game.
But hold on, Nibs. Nibs. I'm sorry to cut you off, man. But you remember, you and I come from NeoGAF.
Yeah.
Now you remember when they when Uncharted 2 came out, and everybody said that he was a psychopath, killing people, and laughing
Yeah.
about it. You remember how everybody was like, that doesn't make any sense, and they were like cognitive dissonance or whatever fuck phrase they said. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And so that
But
prompted Naughty Dog to make Uncharted 3 with all this emotional shit, and 4. It's like that's where the fans wanted it to go. They wanted it to go to this.
no, because the thing is, though, I don't think that's why they made those games more serious. I think they were just trying to develop his character. But, you know, they never dealt with the cognitive dissonance, and nor should they, because even as Druckmann said, like, at the end of the day, it is a fucking video game. Like, you
They
are
still
going to
did it.
kill
They still did it.
hundreds of people.
They still did it. Yo, when Drake did, he was like, "Oh God, oh crap! I killed somebody." I'm like, "Oh." Mm. He didn't say that, guys. I
No,
promise.
but
But he could have.
I mean, yeah, look, yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? But I mean, there is an interesting point you made earlier about like JRPGs, right? Because I do find this quite often, and sorry if there's any like JRPG fans in here. I'm not like, but you do get it where some of the complaints directed at Western games for repetition or storylines or whatever, but then people will play like the 50th JRPG that has all the same fucking tropes, you know?